Hello, and welcome back to Novel Gaming.
I'm Doug.
I'm Katie, and we are talking about Romancelvania, which is a 2023 game that was developed by the Deep End Games and published by both them and 2124 Publishing. Doug, you kind of suggested this game.
Yeah.
So how did you find out about it? What made you pull it up for us?
I don't remember when I first saw that this game was coming, but I was aware of it before it released.
Oh.
And however I came across it, I was like, this seems like something I have to play. This probably gets into the sentence description a little bit, but it just has all the ingredients of things I like in that it is a reality television themed dating simulator told in the context of a Metroidvania style action game.
Yeah, what a beautiful one
just,
sentence also, by the way.
Thank you so much. It's just, I saw it and was like, I need to not forget that this game is happening.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you did this. The one thing I would add to your sentence is that I would toss in the word monster, which I don't know if you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
but it's a good clarification.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you before we even get into any sort of content.
Yeah.
Because I'm sort of stuck,
Okay.
I think, towards the end of the game.
Okay.
So I will readily admit I haven't seen everything. Or have you
I beat
gotten
the game.
fully through? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I haven't seen everything in the game, so I haven't romanced everybody.
Sure.
I think there's an area that I tried to get to early on, but they were like, you're not ready for this yet. And then I didn't do that part, so it's like an optional thing.
Oh,
maybe.
sure, yeah.
And I should say that we're going to talk mostly mechanic stuff here. So if you want to hear about story or character, make sure to check out our podcast episode in the description below.
I think there's plenty of heft in the mechanics department to talk about, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. So in the beginning of this game, I struggled a lot more than later on. I died a lot in the beginning because I was bad at fighting.
Yeah.
And there were these unicycle skeletons with long arms.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The worst. Killed me so much.
They're terrible. Probably the first thing that I noticed playing this game, and I'm going to preface this by saying I really like this game. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Mechanics are where my little bits and pieces and critiques are. Some of the combat stuff, I was genuinely getting frustrated because, like, in those circumstances where you don't have reach or you're out of range things and you've got this weird
long-armed skeleton
unicycle thing. You can't afford to get hit, but you have to get hit to get close.
Right.
And the reason you can't afford to get hit is because every hit in this game stuns you. And so unless you can get away,
and it interrupts you.
You will just get hit. Yeah, and it interrupts you, and you will just get hit over and over and over. Definitely a tough thing in the beginning.
Yeah.
There are definitely weapons that make it easier, but
in
the beginning, it really hit hard.
And sometimes at the end too, or towards the end or middle, specifically with the fish monsters.
Yes.
There were so many of them.
Some of them are stunned when you hit them. The fish monsters, the can tunas, which I love, they're not affected at all.
Yeah.
You damage them, but they just keep charging forward.
Yeah.
So.
And the ones riding bikes.
You should have to learn how enemies work, but I think there's some fine-tuning I feel like I would have appreciated.
Yeah, I ended up doing with those ones because I ended up enjoying. There were certain powers I gravitated towards. The mist one I liked because it slowed down time and made you not get hit. So with those, I started. If they got me, I just misted and tried to get them that way.
That's smart.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's some tough combat in here.
Yeah, it's definitely a game where you can get new weapons and upgrade those weapons, and you should do that.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely didn't think that was as important as it was early in the game.
Yeah.
And then sort of realized, I have all this upgrade currency that I haven't been using, and immediately was I'm going to spend all of it. There's no use saving any of it up.
Yeah.
Just start using it as you get it.
Yes. So there's the currency for the power-ups for your mist and the treats, the health treats. I would also suggest upgrading your wallet early because you can buy what they call awards, which can give you like higher damage stuff that you find kind of around different areas and in different places. So if you have more money, you can buy more things that help you get stronger.
And you will end up running into so many like drop money items or chests full of money that you cannot open or access if you don't expand your wallet.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point too.
It's worth expanding that wallet kind of like as soon as you can.
Yeah. Because you have to pay for dates.
Start upgrading stuff as soon as you you pay for dates, you pay for gifts, you pay for upgrades, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So expand the wallet. Expand the wallet.
Yeah, get that money.
I think one of the reasons I'm inclined to say these things is this is a game that doesn't necessarily hold your hand.
No.
Like it doesn't have a long tutorial piece. Basically the only tutorial you get is the part of the game where you have all your powers and then they take them all away.
Yeah. And so much happens during that I did not remember a lot of the things.
Right. And after that, I mean, you have to read things. You have to pay attention to the items you get. You have to pay attention to your quest log. This game is not going to spoon feed you what to do.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Metroid is like that. Any Metroid game I've played, I've been like, I'm stranded. What do I do?
Yeah, how do I jump?
Right. So it definitely takes its genre seriously, I think.
Yeah. I'm interested. How did you feel? I mean, we both dabbled in dating sim stuff. How did you feel about the dating mechanics?
I think it's cool. I was curious to see how they would marry these two genres because I genuinely don't know if anyone's done it before, but basically in a Metroidvania style game, the whole point is to like explore and unlock areas of the map and find checkpoints so that you can eventually just travel between them. And in this game, part of that exploration process is then to find the people you are going to date.
Yeah.
So the more you explore the map, the more you add to the reality TV dating cast.
Yeah.
And you then have more options. And that made a lot of sense to me. Additionally, the more you open up the map, the more you find dating locations.
Yeah.
And the more dating locations you have, the more you can kind of cater to different people's interests and kind of like choose who you want to give your attention to.
Yeah.
So I think it was a really cool way of marrying those things together.
Yeah, I thought it was super clever. One of the things that was a little tough is that there are characters you meet early on, and then there's like kind of a couple different rounds of recruitment. I think there's like 3 of them. So there are some characters that you know from the beginning, some characters you meet in the middle, and then some characters you meet towards the end. And some of the characters that I met towards the end, I was like, I don't have as many dating locations or dates left to be able to figure out what some of your interests are, and so I didn't get to know them as much.
Yep.
So I definitely had a tendency of the folks I met in the beginning and middle over the folks who I met in the end.
I totally get that and was worried about that. I will say that one of my 2 final dates was the last character I found. So I think there's still potential, depending on what kind of stories you like or what, that you might end up sort of being inspired later into the game, which I think makes the waves okay. But I do think one of the pitfalls is if you are dating and romancing the characters early actively, you have fewer resources and you've already put all that investment in.
Yeah.
If I eventually play this again from the start instead of just like a save file, because I did duplicate a couple save points. What I would do differently, if this is one of those like 5 things to know before you start playing Romancelvania, what I would say is actually just hold off on any sort of dates that aren't necessary until you have your full cast, and then choose who you want from that cast to focus your attention on. Because there was somebody that I wanted for a final date, and I couldn't figure out how to increase my relationship with them. So I looked, but what I could find, I was like, shit, I used up all my dates at this location. I don't think I have the resources
to take them there,
to take that person to the final date. So that's all by design. None of that's a mistake. I think that's supposed to kind of work that way, but it's a thing you sort of learn as you play. Like, damn, it's not just like combat resources are limited, like my dating resources are limited.
Yeah. And I would say one of the things I did was I created a save point right before like the rose ceremonies and the final one. So like after my first playthrough, I went back and I just did final dates with every character I had. And I gave them all the presents, even if they weren't for them. I was like, I'm going to give you a present to the people who I didn't have as much of a rating with, to give them all the presents I could to get it up to a level where I don't know if they would not go on a date with me if I did not go there. You made a face.
Well, two things. One, this is clearly your like dating game experience, because like the forward thinking that you're exhibiting, like without having played the game yet, I'm like in awe of. But two, you only get to do a couple of those final dates. Like you have to make choices along the way where you either eliminate characters or add characters or like make final decisions and whatnot. And when I got to the point where I could make final dates, everybody said no. I had not raised the level of anybody high enough, and I was shocked. I was like, I can't believe I didn't raise anyone's relationship level high enough, because I played a lot.
Yeah.
It's not like I wasn't playing it.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, well, I have to just focus on a couple people.
Yeah.
And so I focused on 2 people and got them to the same level, but the level that they accept dates at isn't the same for every character.
Oh.
So then I got 2 characters that I was like, I want these to be my final, and I kind of had that idea the whole time that I was like, I'm thinking of this from a reality television standpoint. Like, what would the best finale based on what I've seen?
Yeah.
But I couldn't choose both of them. And I was like, at this point, I'm gonna try someone else and see if that works. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't necessarily get both of the dates that I wanted, which, works in the context of a reality television dating show.
Yeah, but damn,
and just dating.
Yeah. Learn from us. Save before points. Give gifts. Don't spend all your dates in the beginning. Yeah.
It's a side-scrolling platformer in the way you would expect a Metroidvania to be, but it's built in 3D. Yeah. And so there are areas or little, like, tiny places on the map where you can, like, glitch and get stuck. Mm-hmm. And there's no like respawn button or like restart from last checkpoint button, which is a bummer.
And there's no autosave.
Right, there's no autosave, which makes sense, I think, for the genre, but in this case, if it's not very polished, you really need something to get you out of those situations. And so, unfortunately, there were a couple times where I would get fully stuck and have to restart the game, which was a bummer.
There was one time where that happened. I didn't have to restart the game. I jumped, and it was like a rock angle, some sort of terrain that was going up. And I jumped from another area onto the terrain that was going up, and I got stuck in like my jumping pose, and I was like an inch away from the ground, but it would just not let me land, and so I just kept like pressing a bunch of buttons, and eventually I think an enemy hit me.
One of your dates walked past.
And just like slapped me a little, which, hey, my character might have been into that, So then I eventually touched the ground and didn't have to like quit the game to start it over. But it did take me a little bit to like, I was pressing all sorts of buttons, but they weren't working because I was mid-fall, and I had already used my like hit. So like, that was something that was unfortunate, and I'm sorry that you had a couple more serious ones. It sounds like.
I mean, more it's just like it's a momentum killer. Like you're like you're enjoying it, and then suddenly you're like, shit. Yeah. So I hope that they're still working on it and they're still actively releasing fixes and stuff, because I think this is such a cool game, and I hope there's a second one, because I think it's such a good, fun format. I mean, if they want to make it, Yeah. But I would be so down for more of this game. So I hope that it. Yeah. If there's more of it, it ends up just getting more and more polished.
Yeah. It is a very clever mashup, and one that on the surface I was like, this is going to be strange, but it is really nice actually. And it's got like a good mix of things. It makes it pretty engaging to play.
Yeah. All the pieces, like you wouldn't think they fit together, but once you're experiencing the product, you're like, actually this all kind of makes perfect sense together. Yeah. Like it's weird that it hasn't really worked this way before.
Yeah, how come we don't do this more often?
No one's really tried this before. And I think my only other thing that I hope if we get another one One thing that I think is so valuable in a Metroidvania is being able to look at the map.
Oh, yes.
Not like a general world map, like the literal
Here are the
map.
level. Like,
right.
Here's the cutout in the corner.
Yes.
And where your save point is. Yeah, absolutely.
That's like a reward for playing the game, is eventually being able... Because, like, Metroidvanias are confusing on purpose. Like, you're supposed to sort of get turned around and sort of figure things out and whatnot, and you should be rewarded with that information recorded once you've figured it out. And this game, I couldn't find anywhere...
It's not there.
Within the game.
Yeah.
There was like an easy to read sort of map, which is, I just feel like it's essential. Being able to see the save points on a map is like so nice.
Yeah.
It helps you make sort of like risk calculating decisions.
Yeah.
Like, do I push forward or do I like backtrack a little bit and save?
Quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I will say, so I mentioned before in the beginning of the game, I died a lot. It's not like I didn't die later on in the game, but I leveled up stuff so much. And at first, they tell you can bite the production assistants, the PAs in red.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up.
And I was like, I don't want to kill these people. And then I was like, well, I want to see what happens. And that's how you get more life. And so I almost was like, not going to do it on like principle.
Me too. Like, they don't tell you things in the game. Largely by design, but that is something they absolutely should have told you.
Yeah.
Absolutely eat the production assistants. I know, like, in the narrative of the game, they're like, they're totally cool with it. Yeah. They love it.
But yeah, once I realized that and I ate all the production assistants and I leveled up, I mean, it got easier for me. So it made a big difference. So do those things. Buy that stuff.
Definitely.
Eat those production assistants. It'll make your life a lot easier in it. Yeah.
I like it a lot. I think it's such a clever idea. The mashup of genres is actually pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
The characters are a lot of fun, and I hope we get to see more.
Me too. Thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down.
It's definitely a thumbs up, even though there's like some technical things and a couple like mechanical tweaks I feel like they need to make if they do another one.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it's like such a fantastic game. I think it's such a fun idea, and for the most part, they execute it really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun, it's funny, and sincere in times when you don't expect it to be sincere.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thank you everybody for listening to us talk about Romancelvania.
If you've got thoughts, let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.
See you then.
Bye.